Good morning, D.C. This morning, all eyes on voting rights. It looks like the Biden administration may finally be pumping the gas on the fight to protect voting rights. Push down on that gas. Don't pump on it. Push down on it. It all happened fairly quickly, just as reports came in that the president's Build Back Better bill would likely not get passed this year. It's not going to get passed. So, did reports that the administration would now be shifting their focus to voting rights. He basically said it yesterday. The president and vice president wasted no time and unexpectedly jumped on a video call Thursday with Senate Democrats. President Biden reportedly told the group to get voting rights done and quickly. Obviously, less than a year before the 2022 midterms. All this comes after a report from Politico stating that the president plans to start the new year with a forceful push on these voting rights. So, off the Build Back Better plan on the voting rights now. Let's see if they can get anything done. The social spending bill won't be gifted once again to the Democratic Party this Christmas, but they are hoping the Freedom to Vote Act will end up under America's tree. Activists held hunger strikes outside the White House while lawmakers made passionate pleas on the Senate floor. But will it make a difference? Our D.C. correspondent Bofta Yimam joins us now from D.C. Good morning, Bofta. All right, no Build Back Better plans, not going to get done before the beginning of the year, but what are the chances they can get voting rights done?
Right, and that's mainly because Senator Joe Manchin, remember, pushed back on the scope and the price tag with that social spending bill. So as you mentioned at the top, now they're quickly shifting, let's pass voting rights before Christmas. But most recognize, Mike, that voting rights would be doomed to fail without a change to the filibuster. But they need all Democratic senators on board for that to happen. Just this week, Senator Warnock pushed Democrats on the Senate floor to act on voting rights. He mentioned that the Senate was willing to scrap a 60-vote threshold to pass the debt ceiling. The Freedom to Vote Act includes national minimum standards for early voting and vote by mail, making Election Day a national holiday, and creating new disclosure requirements for, quote, dark money groups that are currently not required to disclose their donors. Without passing the Freedom to Vote Act, Democrats expect further voting rights restrictions, especially if Republicans take control of Congress in 2022. But altering the filibuster still means Democrats need holdout senators. We've been talking about them, of course, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema on board. And Sinema has been in support of the filibuster, resisting campaigns by Democrats to modify it. Remember that filibuster requires a 60-vote supermajority to advance most legislation. Senator Joe Manchin said he's open to some bipartisan changes to the filibuster, but not completely nuking it. After months of demonstrations and talks, many Democrats still have hope.
I said we're going to get it passed. And I've always said that not because I had confidence so much in those elected officials, but because I had confidence in our movement. Because it's always been our movements that have been able to get legislation like voting rights passed, even when presidents and senators didn't want to see it passed. That's the power that we've had, and that's demonstrated itself, along with a little assist, I got to say, coming from Senator Warnock, who gave a historic, passionate speech the other day, really calling out his Senate colleagues, especially his Democratic colleagues, for not carving out a filibuster for voting rights, you know, for saying for so long it couldn't be done, and then seeing them do it for the debt ceiling, and he called them out.
The best Christmas present the American people could hear was that this bill was going nowhere.
Clearly, no GOP support there. Just heard from Mitch McConnell. GOP leaders argue that the federal government should not have a say-so in state and local election laws. The president, as you mentioned at the top here, has met with Democratic senators to discuss voting rights this week, including Senators Warnock and Senator Manchin. And as we know, it's been reported that some activists, very high-profile activists, have been telling the administration, we may not campaign for you ahead of the midterm elections if you don't get something done. So they're creating some self-imposed deadlines, potentially Martin Luther King Jr. Day, potentially the January 6th riot, to connect that to America's democracy being under siege. So we'll wait to see what that pressure does as we, of course, move into the week of Christmas.
Yeah, we'll see if the Democrats can get themselves together, come together, Manchin and Sinema mainly, and get something done, some of these President Biden's agendas done.